Hello YouTube, Jerry Kirkpatrick here, and at long last I've got everything ready to go. I've got the hammer form mounted on the workstation. I've got the piece that will be placed in the vise that'll be holding the hammer form as I'm doing the work. I've got two blanks ready to go to be screwed to the hammer form, but this has been quite a busy last week, so let me take a little time and show you what it took to get to this point before we even start making noise with the rivet gun. So the first thing I did was cut the ends off of some old chisels to the proper length and then heated them up to a austenitic range. There you can see the magnet does not stick, and then covered them so they would become annealed in still air. And then I faced off the ends of all three and drilled and tapped them to 5/16 18, and then installed a short piece of all thread and put a nut on, a flange nut backwards, so it gave the hammerhead a little bit of support. And then I cut three pieces of the material that I use for the hammer heads, cut three of those to 1 1/4 inches, and then drilled and tapped those to the 5/16 18. And there you can see the three new stems and hammerheads. That the first one I just did by hand, just knocked the corners off, and that will be used mainly on the outside, the larger radiuses. This one here I turned to a 1/2 inch radius, which is a full 1 inch of the parent material. And this one I turned to 1 1/8 inches, and that one will be used in the tightest radius on the inside of the curve. And there you can see all three of the new ones, and then one of the originals is on the left there. The next thing I did was make a paper pattern and then laid that out on a piece of cardboard and cut the cardboard about 1/4 inch larger than the original pattern, and then cut two pieces of aluminum. Then I covered them with soot and then started heating them up in order to burn the soot off. And once the soot is heated enough to disappear, the piece is annealed. So, with keeping up with my regular business, it's taken me just about a week to get to a point where I can do some flow forming. I tried one. This is 3003 065 material, and it has a bit of manganese in it, and I just couldn't get it to flow the way I wanted to. I did anneal several times, did some extra tucking in this area, and some extra stretching in this area. Wasn't pleased what I wanted, and a rational human being would say, okay, the best way to approach this is by making it in 3 different pieces. One would be the top, coming over only halfway to this radius. One would be another piece down in here, making up the bottom half of that. And then another area in here, which is actually a reverse curve. It's curving this way on the inside, but it's also going this way. So there would be a lot of movement required with the material. So I did a second one, this still with 3003. With this one, after it was annealed, I stretched this area in here on a sandbag quite well, and then tuck shrinked this whole area here to get it to come over, and that was pretty good. I had to repeat that sequence of annealing, tuck shrinking, annealing, and stretching probably about 5 times to get to this point, and I'm fairly happy with it now. I think with a couple of more annealing and just a slight amount of tuck shrinking and stretching, I could bring this in. But on Sunday night, I was just watching the race, the IndyCar race, and I said, why don't I just go out and try it once with 1100? And this is what I came out with. It's almost perfect on the first try. So I have a blank here. I'm going to load it up on the buck hammer form, and you can watch how this whole thing is formed. A lot of tucking, a lot of stretching. It'll be quite an interesting series to watch. The reason that I didn't go ahead and make this out of 3 different pieces, because I'm bullheaded. I thought that I should be able to manipulate the material more than its yield would allow. And I got pretty close. But let me load this up over on the hammer form, and you can watch how this whole thing will flow into this piece. So the key to this whole workstation thing is this piece right here. This goes into the vise. You notice that the 2 pieces here are at different heights. That's because one jaw is thinner than the other, and I can slide any post tool down in here and then tighten this up, and it won't be moving around. It won't, obviously it can't go this way, but this keeps everything straight up and down. It can't go this way either as you're hammering. So the first thing I'm going to do is do some tucking around this area here, And on the transition from the 3-inch to the 2-inch, it takes place right around here. So I'm going to put one tuck here, so when this area comes down, this will be able to come in and not cause a pucker in that area. So there's that tuck for that transition. Now I'm going to tuck all of this area all the way to here so this can come down. So that ought to get me most of the way down. I may have to tuck a little bit more, but I have a hand tucking tool also, so as it starts coming down, if necessary, I can put some smaller tucks down in the lower area. Okay, now that I've got it screwed down, first thing I'm going to do is define that area where it comes down from the 3-inch to the 2-inch. Bring this down, and then I'll put these last 2 screws in. First thing I'm going to do is start pulling this down. I'll get back in here. You'll just have to watch. I don't have a specific sequence that I go in. I just have to watch the material, and the material will tell me what needs to be worked next. And I just have the flat hammerhead on here right now. Okay, I'm going to go to a slightly rounded hammerhead now, and I can start chasing these tucks down. I'm only at 45 pounds now with this material. With that 3003, I was up to 65 pounds. So I think with these right now, I don't want to turn the gun up any higher than I have it right now. So I'm going to take these out with a hand hammer. Might get a better view of it this way. Okay, this one here I'm going to have to chase out by hand. I can see from the inside that'll come right out. So I think what I'm going to do is go on the other side. and we'll pull this whole thing down. There's going to be a lot of stretching down in here, so this will be quite something to watch. See how this is coming up? This has to stay below whatever this plane is here. So I'll chase this down. As this picks up, I'll put it down below again. I just took it out, but you could see as this is coming down, it's forcing that material and it'll create a bump right in front of it. So I have to bring this down and give that bump some place to go. I don't know if you can pick it up with the light, but it's right through there. So I've got to chase this down into that. Okay, you can start to see the definition of the bottom of the hammer form right there. Just a little bit, everything is touching all along here, just a little bit right in that radius. And that brought it right in. So let me get this off of here. I'm going to take care of these excessive tucks, and I'll bring you back when I get it mounted back on the buck. Okay, I've got the tucks taken out of there, got it screwed back down. I'm going to change from the slightly curved to the flat and start working this whole thing down. You see right here, 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 and here. I'm going to do one more right there. I'm going to change over to that slightly curved one again, and that way I can chase these out. Starting to go square here. I can't let this get underneath there, so I'm going to have to pull that back out. But you can see here, most of this waviness is below this area. So what I can do now is take and trim this off to where it's just at this surface, and then most of this waviness will go away. So I think that's about as much as I'm going to be showing. The rest of it is going to be just handwork, pulling these in, a lot more massaging after I get these trimmed, I'll finish them off with the slightly rounded one, and I'll have a perfect bottom. So now I've got this back end pulled in, all of those tucks have been removed, and now starts the fun part, the tedious part of filling all of the holes, welding those up, and then planishing, getting everything to a nice smooth surface, and then getting everything back into arrangement so it fits the hammer form just perfectly everywhere. And then after they're all smooth, ready to go, I will send the hammer form and one of my pieces down to Ron Covell, and then he'll start making the bottom portion of it. So watching him make it in several different pieces using his round over dies should be pretty interesting to see how those turn out. Then he'll send one of them back to me. I'll weld it together with oxyacetylene. He'll weld his together with the TIG, and then we'll let you see both of them. In fact, they should look exactly the same or very close when he and I are done with our respective pieces. So thank you very much for watching. I'd love to have a cup of coffee. There's a link below in the description. Just click on that. You can buy me 1, 2, 3, 4 cups of coffee if you like what you've seen in this video. And that's it for now. Thanks for watching. See you later.